Chapter 8. After a lunch of grab whatever you can from the fridge, followed by an hour of reading a massive science encyclopedia she had dragged home from the library, Jessie needed a break. She took the stairs two at a time to the bedroom in search of Isa. When she opened the door, she found Allegra, their friend from school, standing in the middle of the room, wearing a frightful dress that made her look like a giant boysenberry. A bunch of other equally hideous garments were laid out on Isa's bed. Jessie shielded her eyes and grimaced. "I'm blind! Too much tulle, disguised as clothes!" Allegra harumphed. "Jessie, get a grip. It's not like I'm going to wear this when I walk the dog." Allegra gave a regal spin that looked like a move she learned from a terrible girly girl movie. "This is what you wear for an 8th grade semi-formal dance." "I think Allegra looks lovely," Isa said, gazing at Allegra reverently. "Isn't that amazing that she's going to the 8th grade dance?" Jessie grunted. "I guess." She slumped into the beanbag chair. Allegra looked thoughtfully at Jessie. "Jess, listen up. You could look so gorgeous if you wore something other than those old jeans and sweatshirts. I bet if you dressed a little nicer and maybe used some Farewell Frizz spray or something to smooth down your hair, an 8th grader would invite you to the dance too." Jessie rolled her eyes to the ceiling. "And that, my friend, is why I'm not going to dress differently. 8th grade boys think they're so cool. A dance sounds like torture." Jessie looked at Isa for affirmation, but her sister wasn't paying attention. Isa fingered one of the dresses on the bed. "Hey, can I try this one?" She held up the least abominable of the dresses, a floor-length sleeveless peach-colored dress that had a high waist and fell in soft folds to the ground. "Sure," Allegra said. "Just feel free to try anything on. That sparkly blue one would look so awesome on you." "Never gonna happen," Jessie replied as she picked at her cuticles. The sparkly blue dress looked like something a 6-year-old would wear to an ice skating competition. "Jess, help me," Isa said. Jessie got up and helped Isa gently pull the dress down over her head. Jessie smoothed the long skirt and zipped up the back. Isa turned around. "Wow," Jessie breathed. "You look like a queen. An awesome kick-butt queen." Allegra clasped her hands to her chest. "That just looks amazing on you," she squealed. "I so wish you could go to the dance too." Jessie suddenly remembered Benny and their conversation earlier that day. Did Isa want to go to the dance? Generally, the twins were in agreement about these types of things. But there Isa was, standing before her, looking so elegant and grown up in the peach gown, not looking a bit appalled by the idea of going to a fancy pants dance. What had happened? Jessie had meant to mention the thing with Benny from that morning so that they could both have a good laugh about it, but now she wasn't sure if Isa would think it was funny. If Isa went to this dance without her and with a boy, what would it mean? It would be the first major life event they didn't experience together. "Isa, seriously," Jessie said a little bit louder than she meant to. "We have bigger things to worry about than that dance." "Yeah," said Isa dreamily, admiring herself from different angles in the mirror, her impeccable posture making her look stage-ready for Carnegie Hall. "Hello," Jessie said, moving her hands in front of Isa's face. "Moving. The Biederman?" "Whoa," said Allegra. "Who's moving? What Biederman?" Isa snapped out of her reverie and looked at Allegra. "We're moving. The Biederman is our landlord, and he isn't renewing our lease. We figured we have until Christmas to convince him to let us stay," Jessie added. "But that's only 4 days away," Allegra exclaimed. "What's your landlord's deal anyway?" Jessie shrugged. "He can't take all our noise or something." Allegra planted her hands on her hips. "We need to stop him. Your brownstone is the only reason I don't run away from home and find new parents." Allegra's parents were both pediatricians and spent so much time fixing the health problems of other people's kids that Allegra believed they'd forgotten they had a daughter of their own. "We tried to make contact with the Biederman this morning." "Did not go well," Jessie said, then filled Allegra in on the failed breakfast attempt. "Here's what's going to happen," Allegra declared. "You're going to save your home, and here's how." Jessie clamped her mouth shut as Allegra rattled off a number of unreasonable ideas, including one particularly ridiculous suggestion to purchase the whole brownstone in cash from the Biederman. And when Allegra ran out of ideas, she talked again about the dance and how amazing Isa looked in the gown. Jessie didn't trust herself to join the conversation, so she slipped out the door without saying anything at all. Oliver spent a dreadfully boring 23 minutes looking through Hyacinth's button collection. When he left his sister peaceful and preoccupied with a craft project, most likely another Christmas gift, he was reminded yet again that he had not figured out Christmas presents. He didn't know how Hyacinth did it. Just 2 weeks ago, she had made some type of arm warmer contraption. She was like a workaholic elf. Oliver headed up to his bedroom to think about gifts, but when he saw his copy of Treasure Island sitting on his desk, he had a flash of inspiration to avenge Hyacinth's honor. He pulled out a fresh sheet of notebook paper, briefly contemplated the content of his letter, and then wrote the following. To the scoundrel on the 3rd floor, I hope your conscience has robbed you of sleep. Being mean will earn you a black spot, and you know what that means. Be nice or watch out. Woe be to the man who does not heed my advice. Signed, your greatest foe. There's the letter. There, Oliver thought, short and to the point. He was particularly proud of the part about the black spot. In Treasure Island, the black spot meant you were guilty of something and would be fully punished. He thought that lent a certain drama to the letter. He folded the letter into thirds, then slipped it into an envelope. He knew he should be trying to win over the Biederman, but how would the upstairs neighbor even know that it was him writing the note anyway? It could be anyone. Oliver had a really good handwriting for a 9-year-old. He cut out letters from his amazing Outdoor Adventures magazine to spell Mr. Biederman, then pasted them onto the envelope, laying them out like the ransom notes he always imagined getting if someone were to steal Franz or Paganini. That would strike fear into the Biederman's heart. He was sure of it. For the 3rd time that day, a Vanderbeeker kid climbed the stairs to the top floor. Oliver stealthily slipped the letter under the door, then snuck back down the stairs, quiet as a mouse. Oh yeah, who's the man? Let it be known that he, Oliver S. Vanderbeeker, was not to be pushed around when it came to his family. When Oliver re-entered his apartment, feeling as smug as a peacock with a plume full of feathers, he ran straight into Jessie. Do you think I need to dress differently? Jessie demanded. Oliver winced. This would not end well. No, said Oliver with complete honesty, hoping that was the right answer. Why not? Jessie asked him belligerently. Don't you think my old jeans and stained sweatshirts are gross? Don't you think I should dress nicer? Oliver decided to change tactics. Yes, maybe you should get nicer clothes. So you think I'm a big loser, huh? You and everyone else, Jessie snapped. Why don't you tell me what you want me to say so I can say it and go on with my life? Oliver shot back. Sorry. Jessie didn't look or sound sorry. Well, go eat some ice cream or get a chocolate croissant from Castleman's or something. Jessie's eyes flashed. Apparently that was yet another wrong thing for Oliver to say, although he couldn't imagine why. Chocolate always cheered up his sisters. Oliver inched against the hallway wall, trying to give Jessie as much space as possible. Listen, I'm an innocent bystander here, Oliver entreated, hands held up in surrender. He disappeared into his bedroom and shut the door. 2 seconds later, he opened the door just wide enough for his hand to sneak out and hang a "Don't bother the beast" sign on his doorknob before closing it soundly again. Jessie stared at Oliver's door and the ridiculous sign hanging from the doorknob. She sighed. She really did want a chocolate croissant, maybe 2, but she did not want to go back to Castleman's. She wanted to lie in bed under the covers and feel miserable about life. Jessie's bedroom door opened, and Isa and Allegra emerged, back in their regular clothes. Jessie sighed with relief and took a few deep, calming breaths. Now they could go back to concentrating on what really mattered, like saving their home. Jess, we're going to Castleman's for a croissant. Come with us, said Isa. No! Jessie yelled, her heart rate kicking up. Yes. No! Don't you think we should be brainstorming more about the Biederman? We're just running out for a few minutes. You're the one who always quotes that scientific study about how the chemicals in chocolate help the mind work, Isa pointed out. Besides, I want to talk to Benny. Jessie's stomach dropped. She could not, absolutely could not go back to Castleman's today after what had happened that morning with Benny, especially since she hadn't told Isa that Benny wanted to ask her to the dance, especially since it now seemed that Isa did want to go to the dance, especially since Jessie did not want Isa to go to the dance. I've got a headache, and I have science fair research to do, and I need to do some sit-ups. You know, fitness. Stop talking, stop talking, stop talking, Jessie demanded of herself. Jess, is everything all right? Issa's brow furrowed in confusion. Jessie nodded. She didn't trust herself to speak anymore. We'll be right back. Then we can think more about the Biederman. We'll get you a chocolate croissant. Issa and Allegra stepped away from Jessie, Issa still eyeing her sister critically. Jessie attempted to smile, which only made Issa look more concerned. Jessie scooted into her bedroom and shut the door. She dropped down on her bed, covered her head with a pillow, and let out a low, tortured groan. And that is the end of chapter 8.